Yes, children. So, in the last class, we have discussed about what was industrial sector of India during 1990, 1950, 1991. And in this class, we have to deal about what is the scenario of India's foreign trade sector during this time period. That is from 1950 to 1991. So what was happening in the foreign trade sector of India? So as like we all know, India opened up our economy, or India opened up its economy in 1991. That was we moved into a modernization era during 1991. So in the previous period also we were doing from since independence or before the time of independence itself, we were doing exports and imports. We all know they made us the exporter of importer of raw materials and exporter of the finished goods made by the British people. So that means at that time itself we were doing the export and import, but India opened up its economy during 1991. Okay, so at that time period, actually India's foreign trade sector was actually export was more. Actually, what is international trade? International trade means whenever a good or a service is crossing the geographical boundary of a country, means it is called international trade. So international trade, what is the meaning? See, in our country we produce goods and services, right? So we produce goods and services, and it is actually, what is it? It is actually we produce more than what is needed in the domestic consumption. So extra goods and services we can use it for exporting. Okay, and whatever we cannot produce in our economy can be imported. So that is export and import. So whenever a good is actually crossing the geographical boundary of a country, means it is actually international trade. Okay, international itself it is there because like in the name itself it is there. It is crossing the boundary of a country, not state or not a place or anything. It is crossing the boundary of a country. Okay, so that is international trade or foreign trade we can say. So in the context of international trade, we have to look through some points as far as India is concerned. Why international trade is based on the international specialization. International specialization is based on the principle of comparative cost advantage. See, international theory holds upon two theories. International trade holds upon two theories. First one is absolute cost advantage theory, and the second one is comparative cost advantage theory. Absolute advantage means whatever is the absolute cost of production, we actually analyze on that. Comparative means compared to something, we are actually analyzing its cost. Okay, so compared to labor, what is the cost of capital? Compared to capital, what is the cost of labor? So comparing with something, you get the relative cost, and that relative cost is called comparative cost. So to make that comparative cost less, you have to actually comparative cost advantage. That means comparative cost advantage means whatever resources we are specialized in. See, all economies doesn't specialize in all the resources or doesn't have the advantages of all the resources. Even we don't have advantage of all the resources. So whatever resources we have, we have its advantage, comparative cost advantage. Whatever resources they don't have, they actually import from us. That resources, using that resources, we produce that good and we export to them. Okay, so for them it is import. For us it is export. That is they are demanding our product. That is why we are exporting. Then a country specializes in the production of that good which it can produce in the lower cost. That is actually understood from everywhere. Whatever goods we have for lower cost, we will produce that in the domestic economy. Then international trade facilitates exports of good to the rest of the world price higher than the domestic market. We all know, if it is 40 rupees per kg for rice in country India, we will export it for 80 rupees or 90 rupees. So more than the domestic price, we actually export goods and services. Then it facilitates imports of good price lower than the domestic market. Okay, so import cost is less and export cost is more, because export we are getting the price. That means we are exporting and getting the price. Import means we have to pay and get the good. That is why that cost is kept less, and export cost is kept more. That because if export cost is more, we have more profit. Okay. Then size of the market. International trade enhances opportunities of investment in the trading partners. Suppose if we want to invest in USA. USA is one of our best trading partners. So if we want to invest in USA, invest in Japan, all such things like these international trade facilitates investment in the trading partners also. Then higher investment leads to higher GDP growth. So that means international trade is also like you can consider it as an engine of economic growth. Okay, so international trade, because higher investment is made, means there will be higher economic growth. That means GDP growth rate will be increasing. So increasing GDP growth rate means we all know that was actually growth rate like growing of the economy. So that means this international trade serves as the engine for economic growth. Then India's foreign trade at the time of independence. What was India's foreign trade during the time of independence? Indian economy suffered its colonial exploitation during, as we all know, they made India a exporter of raw materials and importer of finished goods from them. So that was the condition of pre-colonial colonial rule, that is the pre-independence era. Then British used our natural resources as raw materials and for their industrial output. Then besides being a source of raw material, Indian economy got exploited in the market of British industrial goods. See, they were charging high price from us for the finished goods. That is how they exploited us. Then substantial exports of raw materials from India gave impetus of the volume of its international trade. That is our handicrafts, our cotton, jute, all such goods we were very famous in. So we were actually exporting these raw materials. So with that raw materials they were producing the finished goods, and that finished goods we had to import it to use. That is how they exploited our Indian market during the time of independence. Then balance of trade was like actually exports was more than import at that time, because we were exporting more of our raw materials but we were having a controlled import. So for any economy to be developed, we need more of exports. That is favorable BOP actually, you have to say. Okay, BOP actually we have learned it in the macro part. So favorable BOP, that is surplus BOP, that is exports should be more than imports. That is how you can revive up a economy. So at that particular period of time, we had surplus BOP, that is we were exporting more. Then we were actually importers of the finished goods from the British government or British countries. Then yes, so that is the composition of Indian trade or Indian trade with British people during the time of independence. So this was the combination or composition of India's foreign trade at the time of independence. So actually we have to note this point that India was made exporter of raw materials to at peak end, and we were importing their finished goods. So they were actually seeing India as a market for cheaper raw materials, and also they can they force upon to buy their products, finished products, through imports to India with charging high prices. Okay, so that is actually the composition of India's foreign trade at the time of independence. Now we have to look through after independence what happened. That is the time of 1947 to 1991. So that actually we will look in the next video. Okay. Yes, so now we will deal with India's foreign trade at the time of after independence. So that is actually analyzed in two headings. That is, first one is volume of foreign trade and the second one is composition of foreign trade. So that is actually we have to look. So first one is volume of foreign trade. Actually volume of foreign trade, I'll be giving you a reference table, that is each 5-year plan, what was the export and import, and also its total. So what is actually we have either a surplus BOP or deficit BOP, that is to find out what is actually the increase in volume or was it increase or decrease in the volume of foreign trade. So I'll give the table. In that itself you can analyze that. So these are the things that you have to keep it in mind. That is, in the under 5-year plans, the international trade has been increased from rupees 6760 crore from the first plan to somewhat 3 to 4 crores in the 12th plan. That is, 12th plan is from 2012 to 2017. So from 1951 2007 to 2017, it has actually rapidly increased. Okay, that is a rise of 3282 times. Then exports actually increased by 2895 times and imports increased by 3612 times. So here itself you can note the difference. From favorable BOP, we have moved to unfavorable BOP, that is deficit BOP. Now, in this era, we have more of imports than more of exports. So, earlier time, we were actually exporting our handicrafts, cotton, jute, all such things as raw materials. That was more than what we imported. That is the finished goods that we imported from the British countries. So, now we are actually a scenario change. That is, actually now we are importing more than that of exporting. Then some following observations are to be noted in this regard. Percentage rise in exports and imports have been high owing to the base effect. That is, it means that initially the volume of exports and imports was very low, but now a tremendous increase in trade volume has been increased. Then while over time India's exports and imports have tended to rise, India's share in global trade has tended to decline. Our trade volume has increased, but in national, like if you take it global trade scenario, our our position is coming down. Then it declined from 1.8 to 0.5% in 1991. It is only after the initiation of economic reforms that see now here from 1991 we couldn't perform very well. After 1991, after we adopted the strategy of LPG, that is new economic reforms, that is liberalization, privatization and globalization, we opened up our economy. Okay, so till that time we couldn't perform well with the BOP situation, or you can say the global scenario. When you take up India in the global scenario, we were actually poor. We had a poor performance. So by opening up our Indian economy by 1991, we could perform very well, but nothing changed our unfavorable BOP. That is, we actually are importing much more than what we export. Then actually again it is only after the initiation of economic reforms the change in the volume of trade has also become significant. We were actually trading in very small units or very small volume, but after the initiation of economic reforms, that is actually the adoption of 1991 policy, that is new economic reforms, we actually our volume of international trade has tremendously increased. But actually you have to note something in this scenario, that is our import has more increased than our export. So that is, we couldn't withstand our economy for increasing the exports. So these were the things that is with regard to the volume of international trade. Now coming to the composition of foreign trade, that is, first one is decline in percentage share of agricultural exports. Actually from that time in the pre-independence era and all, agricultural sector was very dominant in our country, but scenario changed by 1947, that is after independence time. There has been a significant decline in percentage share of agricultural items, that is in the total exports, because India started using its farm products as raw materials for its domestic industry, that is for secondary sector, that is for industrial sector. Raw materials were coming from primary sector, that is our agricultural sector. So they couldn't export more of agricultural produces to other countries. Then substantial rise in India's population also. So that is domestic consumption has also got a increase. So they couldn't actually export more of agricultural products. So these were the two reasons. What is it? First one is for industrial sector, agricultural sector was giving the raw materials, and also with the expansion of population, our domestic consumption got a very increased aggregate demand. Then decline in percentage share of conventional items. conventional items, that is actually our tea, jute, like that, it was actually our products at the time of like what you can say colonial rule. But now it has changed to what you can say gems, jewelry, then cash. Actually we were dealing with cash crops now, like at that period of time. So we have changed from our traditional crops to cash crops. Then increase in percentage share of manufactured goods, that is machinery goods, vehicles, automobiles, all such things was actually replaced by our traditional goods, that is jute, cotton, handicrafts, what you can say textiles, all such things were replaced by vehicles, machinery goods, capital goods, and also metals, precious metals, automobiles, all such things. So these were the changes in composition of India's foreign trade. So India is like now after 1951 or like between 1951 and 1990, India was no longer a backward economy. Actually, we were actually coming as we were growing, we were developing. So that means India was no longer a backward economy and no longer a agrarian economy at that particular period of time. See, in the before 1947, on the eve of independence, India was a very agrarian economy. That means most of our population was under agricultural sector for earning their livelihood. That is more than 85% of the country's population was under agricultural sector to earn their livelihood. But now it is not the scenario. Agricultural, like Indian economy is no longer a agrarian economy because our industrial sector got very much developed, that our what you can say our agricultural sector was pushed back for its performance. So predominance of primary sector, it was actually changed to secondary sector and tertiary sector. Tertiary sector means it is actually service sector. So our dominance to agricultural sector was changing to now primary sector, like from primary sector to secondary sector and tertiary sector. Okay, now we have to move on to the okay, it is studied under 3 heads. Sorry, first head was volume of trade, composition of trade, and direction of foreign trade also is there. So direction of foreign trade we will look in the next video. Okay, so that is actually studied India's foreign trade after independence. We actually study it in 3 different headings, that is volume of foreign trade, composition of foreign trade, and direction of foreign trade. So direction of foreign trade we will look in the next video. Okay, yes, so now we will move on to the direction of foreign trade during the time of independence. So following was to observe at that time of at that particular time period, that is since 1951, with regard to the direction of foreign trade. So India's foreign trade has also undergone a substantial change at that time. Actually, our trading partners during that time on the eve of independence was mainly British country. So that is British government, British country. But now it has actually changed from like we had actually what you can say commendable change, a substantial change has been occurred in our trading partners. So presently our trading partners are UAE, China, USA, Switzerland, Singapore, Australia, Iran, Hong Kong, Korea, Indonesia, UK, Japan, and Belgium. So there is actually a sharp contrast to pre-1951 scenario. Before 1951 scenario, actually it was only UK and USA in main, and also the British countries. Now, but it has also changed from very, it is actually shown a very tremendous change in these trading partners. Then a notable feature was actually UAE has emerged as our leading trade partner. Actually, we had USA, which was our leading partner till 2007-8, but now actually UAE has replaced that position of India's leading trading partner since 2008. Then USA share in India's export was 15.9%, while UAE is 9.1%. And as of China, it is actually 5.1%. So exporting rate is actually given there, and importing rate is China as the first position. We all know, right? We actually rely upon so much of Chinese products, right? So China has more of import position in the first position, that is 13.7%, and followed by USA 6.9%, and Saudi Arabia 5.6%, and followed by Switzerland 3.5%. Then Saudi Arabia has also emerged as our significant trading partner. That is India's foreign trade between 2010 and 2019. That is actually it has 4% share of India's foreign trade. Then it is interesting to note that after the introduction of globalization, Chinese goods have dominated the Indian markets much more than Indian goods in the Chinese markets. Okay, so that means we imported more Chinese goods than they imported our Indian goods. Okay, so that is our Indian markets was actually filled by Chinese products, rather our products were filled in their Chinese markets. Okay, so we were importing more from China. Actually, that is the data itself is showing that, right? That means we were actually importing 13.7% of total imports from only China. Then consequently, our imports from China have risen much more than our exports to China. That is it. Okay, so China has succeeded much more than India in harnessing the gains of international trade. So actually China was absolutely enjoying the trading benefits of India. That is, it was actually, we were actually importing more goods from China. That itself, it is very witness, like we can, it's actually a proved thing, right? All of our Indian markets are filled with Chinese goods and Chinese things, Chinese products. So that means the import rate, our import rate from China is more than our export rate to China. Then 1991 was known as a year of divide. That is, India's foreign trade brings out a significant point, that is volume of Indian trade has tended to gain momentum only after 1990. As I told you, after the introduction of LPG strategy, that is new economic reforms, we actually started to perform very well in international trade. That you have to keep it in mind. Till 1990, we were relying on different trade strategy. We were relying on inward-looking trade strategy, which failed in its desired results. That is import substitution. That we have to look. That policy we have to study in detail. It was only in 1991 we shifted to the strategy of export promotion, which triggered a rise in our exports and imports. Actually, a country has to go for export promotion measures. That too. And it has also to control import measures. We actually have to export more than importing. So a country has to adopt or accept such policy which encourages its exports and discourages its import. But import is also needed for the economy. You cannot actually curtail import. That is actually money supply going in and out. So money means it has to move or flow in and out. So import is like important, but it should not exceed. It should never exceed the amount of exports. Okay, and unfortunately, India is facing an unfavorable BOP since 1990, or you can say notable by after 2000. Okay, so that is the case of India's foreign trade after 1947. Now we have to move on to the inward-looking trade strategy, that is the import substitution strategy of 1947 to 1991 time period. So that we will look in the next video. Okay. Yes. So now we will move on to the inward-looking trade strategy at that time period. That is during the time period of 1947. That is 1951 to 1990. That is the post-independence time period. That is also called import substitution strategy. We all know what is import substitution, right? Whatever we are trying to import, we are actually replacing it with the domestic production. That is import substitution. Import substitution and protection to the import substitution means it is the protection to the domestic industry through import restrictions and import duties to the international trade. So import substitution implies domestic production of those goods in the economy, domestic economy itself. Then foreign exchange was to be utilized for developmental imports. Not for actually, it was actually not used for importing consumer goods but developmental goods. That is capital for making dams, bridges, all such things, developmental goods. Then by adopting inward-looking trade strategy, the government preferred to economize the use of foreign exchange. That means foreign exchange was used only when it was necessary. It was actually till 1991, or you can say till 1947 and all, it was actually rapidly used or roughly used, these foreign exchanges. Now the government has itself implemented a strategy of using the foreign exchange very economized. Okay, then rather than maximize the generation of foreign exchange, then also the government wanted to protect the domestic industry from international competition. That is actually, I told you, by importing these goods and services, actually less prices, whatever the domestic producers are charging here, less than that of the prices actually we import goods and services. So that is actually the threat to the domestic producers. So domestic production will not happen also. So to protect Indian economy with the domestic producers, the Indian government has adopted import substitution policy. And you have certain impacts of this measure, that is the import substitution measure. You have both good impact as well as the negative impact. First we will move on to the good impact. High rate of industrial growth with structural transformation. That means with this import substitution this thing, so despite of green revolution and all, the percentage contribution of industrial sector to GDP rose from 12% to 25% in 1991. Then diversification of industrial growth, that is modern industry actually are this thing, not textile, jute, tea and all. We have actually moved to industrial thing, that is inward looking trade strategy has changed our pattern. That is, we actually now import and now we export more of machinery goods, that is machinery goods, electronic industries, such things actually change. That is the diversification of industrial growth. Our industrial sector has more change now. So earlier in traditional time it was actually cotton industry, jute industry, tea industry and all. Now it is electronics, automobiles, all such things. Then opportunities of investment. The protection of small scale industries opened up new opportunities of investment for those who did not have much capital. See, SSI, that is small scale industries, was up to 5 lakhs rupees. So those who have no more capital thing, that is more money to start a business, can go for a small scale industry. So that increased much opportunities for the people. Then bad impacts were growth of inefficient public monopolies. So that means, see, private sectors at that particular time, public sector was given more important, but they were not actually performing very well. Actually, they were having an inefficient performance. So that inefficient monopoly was on a increase. Then lack of competition implied lack of modernization. So actually by import substitution we were protecting our domestic producers from the competition. So that has actually lacked modernization. If we could withstand the competition only, we could modernize our economy. Since we adopted import substitution method to help or protect domestic producers, actually you can say we lacked modernization during that time. That is till 1991. And indiscriminate spread of public sector enterprises. We all know, we have looked through already in the industrial sector. Public sector was given a more role in the economy. That too, an inefficient performance of the public sector was happening at that time. Then economically unviable state enterprises, that is a political compulsion. See, all the political power was actually accumulated in or concentrated in one area. So they were actually taking the decisions. So that decisions may not be very good for the functioning of the economy. So actually concentration of more political powers in one hand has very much disadvantages. So that was actually happening during that time period, that is 1950 to 1991. So by correcting all these measures in 1991, India adopted the policy of new economic reforms, that is LPG strategy, that is liberalization, privatization and globalization. So in short, we call them as new economic reforms of 1991, where India opened up its economy. Actually till that time we were closed, and now we opened up our economy to the world economy, and we integrated our Indian economy with the global economy. From that time period onwards, actually our trade, international trade pattern tremendously changed. Okay, so that was actually, so 1991 was time period of modernization for India. From there we started to modernize the Indian economy. So now in the next chapter we will be dealing with the effects of this modernization, that is effects of the policy of 1991 economic reforms. So now till here, so we have started our journey from eve of independence, that is before 1947, after independence, that is 1950 to 1991. Now we are just now we have reached 1991. So as far as Indian economy is considered, 1991 was the turning point for Indian economy with the adoption of new economic reforms of 1991. So you have to be very clear about it. 1991 was a very turning point year of Indian economy. So after this chapter, from the next chapter onwards, we will be dealing with the effects and impacts of all these economic reforms policies. Okay, so till now I think it is clear for you now. So this was the Indian economy scenario till 1991. Now we will analyze after 1991 what was the Indian economy scenario. Okay, so that's all for today's class now. So we will wind it up. In the next class we will be starting with the new economic reforms of 1991, that is the LPG strategy, liberalization, privatization and globalization. So you have to take notes wherever necessary. So this chapter we are completing with the second chapter of Indian economic development, that is Indian economy 1950-1991. Okay, so next class we will be starting with the next chapter. Okay, thank you. Have a good day.